Elhaji Malik Dof is nearly a hammer. This is West Ham United. Anything can go wrong. If there's something that can go wrong at the last minute of a transfer deal, we can make sure it happens. However, assuming everything goes smoothly and according to plan, Diouf will become a West Ham United player. A deal agreed yesterday, 19 million guaranteed cash plus a potential 4.5 million of add-ons. And there's been an update this morning from the Czechia media. And this is important because they were the ones that broke this yesterday morning. But they're reporting that we had to agree to a higher percentage when it came to the sell-on clause than we would have liked, but we wanted to get the deal done. We had to get the deal done, so we've just agreed to Slavia Prague's terms in regards to the sell-on percentage, which I'm okay with, providing it's part of the profit rather than the overall transfer fee. And it usually is. It does not bother me too much, as long as it's not like 50%, obviously. But if it's 20%, and that's quite a big fee, it's usually 10, 15. But even if it was 20, I'm still okay with that as well, because you're paying such a big fee for him. And now, bear in mind, if he's been a huge success and we are selling him for 50 million, for example, well, that would give them 6 million if my maths is right, giving us the 44. But there's a good chance we've also paid some of those clauses as well, therefore reducing the payout to Slavia Prague. So I'm okay with it. This is what meant we had to get our man. Fine, good news. Important for Graham Potter, important for Kyle McCauley, important for David Sullivan and Karen Brady, important for West Ham fans. This is really good news. I was always confident we'd sign him. Being quite consistent, I feel, in my videos last week, despite someone saying I reported the deal had collapsed on Saturday. I mean, you're gonna, right, Saturday, people will call me deluded for wanting Nicholas Jackson. That's fine, I can take it. It's a bit of fun. Maybe I am, right? But to say that I said the deal collapsed, that's just making stuff up. That's completely dangerous. I've always been confident. You'll know this, the regular subscribers. I've always been confident this deal will happen. And it has. Because it always felt serious from the for the last couple of weeks, always felt serious, our interest, that we were bidding for him. Then it got confirmed, literally last Monday. The chairman of Slavia Prague came out saying, we've rejected 2 bids from that club in the media. We were the club, the English club in the media, that was us. Slavia Prague chairman told us we rejected it. Now, as I always maintain, this guy was desperate to sell Diouf. And it's been proven yesterday, in my opinion. Because he was there telling everyone, 20 million, 20 million, 20 million, come get him. And yesterday, he took to Twitter, the Slavia Prague chairman, he said, 2 in 1 year. So he's bragging about selling Diouf, and he's referring to Kinski, who went to Spurs in the January transfer window as well. So he's talking about 2 big sales in 1 year, which he has negotiated, and he's proud of that, and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. But my point was, we wanted to sign him, and he in particular wanted to sell him, and Diouf wanted to come. So when that happens, when all 3 parties want the same thing, it's usually going to happen, but you still got to get the deal done. It's agreed now, just the medical to go through. And like I said, I think it'll be announced tomorrow. That's just a prediction, though. But historically, we know what West Ham are like when it comes to timelines of things. A couple of days for the medical, an afternoon to get the media stuff done. So I think later on Tuesday, I expect Diouf to be announced as a West Ham United player. First major signing for Graham Potter. This is good news. Now, we have to keep going. It doesn't stop now. We've got to keep on going. And if we look at the Kudus money and if we just really simplify this, and it's not this simple, but if we just do it for the sake of it, because the board put out there very quickly, 100% of the money will be there for player purchases. So 55 million, we've spent 19 of it. There's still a lot of money left over, so we can keep on going, go get whoever it is. Now, we're being linked to a few players, but whether it's the midfielder, the striker, the goalkeeper, let's go get the next one in. And in the meantime, try and offload a couple of players so that when the next guy comes in, someone else is on his way out, so we've got more money coming in and we can keep on going. We need more than one signing. We still need another 4, I think. I haven't really thought about it. It might be a bit more than that, but I'm just spitballing. We need to keep going. However, this is a good start. It's a good start. He's in. He can go to Germany. He can participate against Grasshoppers on Saturday. But what I like about this deal, well, there's a few things I like. But what I like about it in the last 24 hours, and this is a new feeling, it tells you a lot about a player when he leaves a club, I think. To take the worst example is Trent Alexander-Arnold. You don't want to be doing that to your club. You got someone who's in the middle towards the bad side, is Mohamed Kudus. He put up a social media post and had to not allow comments because he knew the backlash he was going to go get. But you look at Diouf yesterday, came on the last minute in the friendly, standing ovation, big waving, fans emotional in the stands, all his teammates hugging him, his manager hugging him. He left with love, and that reflects him as a footballer and as a person. And I feel confident, just watching that footage alone, I feel confident we're bringing in a player that's going to be easy to love, that's going to give everything to the badge. And over the last couple of weeks, I've read a lot of stuff from Slavia Prague fans because they've been commenting on videos, and the general gist I get, and it tallies up with what I've seen. I've watched a little bit of him on Y Scout this morning, trying to get an idea, because I'd never heard of him until a month ago. Really tried to get into it and see what we can, and I'm not finished, I've still got more to do. But getting forward really good, beating his man really good, his crosses look really good. Defensively, when in a defensive position, one-on-one looks pretty strong as a defender. The weakness I see from what I've watched footage-wise is he's sometimes not in a defensive position. He can get caught high up the pitch. He is a very attacking fullback. However, we're not going to utilise him as that. We're going to utilise him as a wing-back, which means he will have that protection. Plus, that defensive positioning can be coached. He's only 20 years of age. He's never going to be the finished article at that age. But to have the first-team appearances that he's got, he's an international player for Senegal, albeit not loads of caps. He's got a handful. But for a 20-year-old, that is incredible. So we're getting in terms of 20-year-olds in football at, top level, you're getting a pretty experienced player here. He's never going to be perfect. There's going to be weaknesses in his game, and a lot of it, and if not all of it, could be put down to inexperience. Because while he's experienced for a 20-year-old, if you compare him to someone that's 25, he's very, very inexperienced. Coming to a new league, new country, there's going to be adjustments. There's going to be a period of bedding in. I imagine he's going to struggle now and again, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'll be patient with him, because this is the type of signing I want us to make. Someone that can come in, improve, value increases, but also if we get lucky, and there will be an element of luck here, but if Scarles and Diouf work out next season and beyond, we've sorted that area of the squad for the next 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, assuming we don't sell either of them. In 10 years' time, they'll both be early 30s. This is fantastic. This is fantastic. This is exciting. Now, it is a big if. One of them working out, it doesn't feel unrealistic. Them both working out and being at that level in the Premier League feels unlikely. But, fingers crossed, both can go on and smash it at West Ham. I'm really looking forward to them next season, having those two players there. I think that's almost a position of the squad we're going to love at West Ham. That left wing-back role, the guy from the academy, the young player from Slavia Prague, who, if he has the attitude of Sufal and Souček and going by the farewell he's receiving, you would assume so. But Prague fans have basically suggested what I've suggested. It's in line with what the footage shows. But he's leaving with a lot of love. And I like that. I think it tells you a lot about a person as well as a player. I'm excited. I'm excited for Graham Potter. Now, I will give credit, because I will be the first one to criticise. So I want to, probably not, someone's already done it probably, but I will be one of the first ones to say well done to whoever at the club got this deal done. If that's David Sullivan, if that's Callum Brady, if that's Kyle McCauley, whichever one it was that got this deal done, well done. Because it's happened quite quickly. We saw Kudus Thursday, Sunday night, Doof's leaving Czechia and he's on his way to London. I'd have liked it a little bit quicker, but if it's concluded by Monday evening, that's okay. And that's more than okay. Well done. Because I was nervous that we're going to stuff up negotiations this summer. I was fearful. I was hopeful and excited that we'll identify the right players, and I still am. But I was fearful that the barrier, which is getting the deal done, may be too big to overcome. And I still think in some cases we will struggle with that aspect of it. I'm not using Jashiri and Richard Rios here, by the way, who have both reportedly rejected us, because I don't think they're rejecting us because we couldn't agree a deal with a club. It's the player saying, I don't want to come to West Ham United. Well, there's only so much you can do about that, right? That's not really negotiations, in my opinion. That's just they don't find West Ham appealing and they don't wish to join us as a club. It's going to happen. Move on to the next one. But when you do get a player willing to join like Diouf, I think it's important you go get that deal done if Potter really wants him. Potter really wanted him. He was labelled up as his number one transfer target. We've gone out there. We've got the deal done. This is good. This is good news. I'm happy. Now, does it change my opinion of the bigger picture? No. But we're talking about this specific transfer. This video is about one transfer only. And I've only got credit in regards to that. Like I said, does it make me more confident going forward? Maybe a smidgen. Maybe it makes me a little bit more optimistic that we get linked to a other player who wants to come to West Ham later in the week. I might think, well, actually, we've shown we can get deals done now. Maybe that can happen. I remain very, very, very cautious and I'm not confident. Optimistic. Optimism and confidence are two completely different things, right? One's hopeful and one's, well, sure that it's going to happen. I am not sure. I will be a little bit more hurt. I feel really good. I feel really good. I feel really positive about West Ham this morning. I did a video on Friday talking about how happy I was with the players we're being linked to, and that included players like Diouf, and I still am. That's why we're getting linked to Calvert-Lewin. I'm not believing it. That doesn't really fit. I don't believe that's who we're going to go after this summer. I'm not worried about Callum Wilson at present. If come the middle of August we've not signed a striker then and he's available, then I might start like, oh no, this could happen. But until then, I can't be fake. I can't just inject fake negativity into my arm. Like, oh, yeah, whoa, I'm going to sign Wilson. I don't believe it. I don't think we will. I think we will keep on trying to sign younger players like Diouf. And I'm happy with that one. Happy for Graham Potter. Clearly a key player in his plans for what he wants to do next season. And even though it's just one signing, you already get a bit of a vibe as to what you think Potter's going to do. Now, I think last season told us a lot anyway, but I think this is just really nailed down that you're going to see wing-backs quite often next season. Right, okay, so we're doing that. So we've got him and Wan-Bissaka. Now, we're in trouble when it comes to African Cup of Nations that we lose both wing-backs. However, that's fine. Two good options. I'm happy with them. Bowen's in the team. Todibo, I'm quite optimistic about this season. But this one, let's stick to this transfer. I'm pleased. Time to go get the next one. Still quite a lot of work to do. But it's good news. I'm going to allow myself a couple of days just to be happy that we're signing Diouf. And like I said, a couple of the other players we've been linked to, which is similar profiles, I'm happy with as well. The one thing I will add, actually, there was some suggestions that Kyle McCauley had spoken to people, agents or players or whatever, and because of the inability to make an offer due to the lack of player sales prior to Kudus, it was sort of hitting a bit of a dead end. I think what this is showing that whoever it is that's spoken to these clubs, whether it's McCauley, the one thing I don't like is lack of consistency, by the way. When I hear that McCauley's spoken to people but can't offer anything, but then when a deal doesn't get done, it's Sullivan's that's doing the negotiating. And I feel like I'm getting two different stories here, two different claims that actually it's McCauley negotiating, but also it's Sullivan's fault that negotiations, like he's badly negotiating. Well, which one is it? I think it's Sullivan personally, right? But I'm going to take the report, which some have suggested that McCauley has spoken to people and it's not. Now, both can be true. I think maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle, which is McCauley's doing the initial inquiries and speaking to agents or whatever to figure out if they're interested, and then passing it up, firing it up to David Sullivan, saying, there you go, there's the guy, he's willing to come, go get this over the line. So I think maybe that's the truth. However, I think what this transfer has shown is that whilst we were speaking to players and perhaps unable to make concrete offers because we hadn't sold Kudus, it has shown that we've been able to get a deal lined up, get a player persuaded, because Diouf was wanting to come to West Ham before we sold Kudus. According to Slavia Prague chairman, whom I'm believing, I've got no reason to not believe him, last Monday he told us publicly, bragging, they've rejected 2 bids. Well, that was a good few days, but at that point we'd rejected Tottenham's offer, right? So at that point there was no offer for Kudus that we'd accepted, but yet we'd already made 2 bids. So what it does show for me is that even though we hadn't sold players, we were trying to get deals done, but also we kind of managed. Yes, we hadn't agreed anything with Slavia Prague, but we were now on to our third round of negotiations and offer, which is quite serious. But also, the player himself had wanted to come to West Ham in that process. So hopefully, there's another Diouf somewhere that we've already begun negotiations with. We've already persuaded the player to come. And I'm maybe putting 2 and 2 together here. Let me know what you think. But there's only one player that I feel like this summer hasn't gone away. And that is Rafael Onyedika. Onyedika. I'm going to have to figure out how you pronounce his name. But for now, until he signs, Onyedika will do. Because, funny. But with Diouf, the reliable media in Prague, in Slavia, and Czechia were saying he's going to West Ham. West Ham really want him. Well, it's very, very similar with Onyedika, with Belgium. Now, since then, when I've mentioned it in videos, there's been a couple of West Ham fans who are based in Belgium commented, and there was one in particular who's based in Belgium who he had a Belgian friend who didn't support West Ham. That was it. He contacted him. Said, "Oh, what do you know about this journalist?" And the response was, "He's really reliable." So I've had like 3, and it's not a lot, but it is a lot in a way. I've had 3 subscribers verify this Belgian journalist, right? Saying he's reliable when it comes to news. All summer, he's insisted that Onyedika's coming to West Ham. He's insisted the deal, he wants to move. He's agreed personal terms with West Ham. The only thing left is for West Ham to agree a deal with Club Brugge. Well, that sounds very, very familiar to what's just happened with Diouf and Slavia Prague, right? Like I said, maybe I'm putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 10 here. But I wouldn't be surprised, don't be surprised if what I'm trying to say badly is, if our interest in Onyedika is serious, I'm expecting us to make moves for him in the next few days. I'm expecting him to be next on the list. There's names being dropped out there, and we're going to discuss them later on. We're going to do a transfer rumour show, because there's two transfer rumours I really like. I'm quite excited. Maybe, just maybe, it's smoke screens, because the significant difference is those transfer rumours are coming from the West Ham side of things. The updates when it came to Diouf, I feel, came from the Slavia Prague side of things. Sometimes that's important. Anyway, I'm off skate. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm a happy Geo. Hopefully you're happy. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I think the only way you won't be happy with this is if you know Diouf and you don't like him. I think if you know him and you like him, you'll be happy. I think if you don't know him, I think there would be an element of happiness there. All right, we've signed a player. Potter's got his man. That's where I am. I don't know him, but I'm happy because Potter's got someone that he wants. And the more players he signs that he wants next season, the better as far as I'm concerned, because I don't like him using the squad that we've had. We need his signings in. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to Hammers Chat. Catch you later.